Well, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. Another day of clear blue sunny skies. Cold temperature still, but clear blue skies. It's the third or fourth day in a row. It's a clear sign that spring is on its way. Driveway's coming along just as I expected. Really glad I bladed it down again, especially given that we're in for double-digit warm temperatures or positive temperatures in the coming week. As you can see, there's just a very light layer of crusty white snow. There's a number of different areas in the driveway now where you can see the surface of the gravel below, which is excellent. It means I bladed it down in some parts, at least as far down as I could. And as is often the case in front of the house, there's a little bit of ice in and around where I walk a lot outside the front porch, but that's to be expected. Either way, I think I'm in good shape for the warm temperatures this coming week. I'm really happy that a lot of you enjoy the snow clearing videos that I put out during the winter times. It is really pretty when you've got a forest around you or you get a chance to blow through the forest. What you may not know is I try my best when I can not to show you the same sections of the driveway as I did on the last video. Because it's such a long driveway, it's almost a mile long, I try my best to kind of mix it up so you don't keep seeing the same sections every time. However, what it does do is it tends to drive a lot of requests from you good folks to see the entire driveway in one run. Maybe a little bit of commentary about it. So I'm going to do that today as I head down the concession road to help out one of the neighbors. I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get that tractor warmed up and get on our way. So we're just going to be heading down the concession today just to help out a neighbor. I'm the only one with a working rear blade right now, and of course it's that time of year. Everybody starts wanting to blade their driveways down. And since his blade is broken, I haven't seen him in a long time, but Uncle Bobby gave me a shout the other day and asked if I'd mind terribly heading down there. See if I can give him a bit of a hand, especially scraping out in and around where the chairlift is for a lady that lives there. So, gives us a chance to get out in the sunshine and do a little tractor work. I have to admit, this cab has been a big game changer. It's currently negative 17 degrees outside, but I'm a little more comfy than I would have been on the LB2601. I've been asked many times, but if I had to do all over again, I would definitely have started with my very first tractor with an open station, because there's so much to learn about operating a tractor. I'm still learning every week, but trying to understand weight, ballast, and feeling how the tractor responds in different situations in a forest, I think was a little easier for me having the open station than if I had started off with a cab. Not to mention, like anything else in life, you tend to appreciate it a little more when you know what it's like working outside negative 30 degrees Celsius and trying to warm your hands on the exhaust pipe. All right, we're here. You may recognize the place. This is where you saw me out there, I guess the last winter or two, doing a little sanding and a little bit of blowing on the driveway from time to time. And as well, you take a look there, you'll see there's Uncle Bobby's tracks from his campsites on his Grizzly. And to the left there, you may recall, there's a huge garden there that Bobby cultivates and grows a lot of vegetables on in the summer. This is also where we were cutting elm just recently when we were trying out that Easton Made Ultra. Bobby's so funny. You can always tell where Bobby's been because there's tracks all over the place. And he's the only one up here that's got tracks, so you know it's him. What he's asked me to do is to try to scrape out as best I can this area around the wheelchair lift, because this will be primarily where she's coming in. And of course, we've got a lot of hard, crusty snow here. I haven't done anything on the property this year, so I'm pretty sure there's nothing hiding under here. But I'll try to scrape it out as best I can. They've got some sand, which is good. And I think Bobby's going to come out and try to chip away at that staircase sometime this week before she comes home. Other than that, we're just going to scrape down the rest of the driveway. We're supposed to get double-digit temperatures this week, so it'll be good if we could get as much of this out. And then we're good to go. But it's a gorgeous day. I hope you'll stick around with me. be wrong, but I just get the feeling I could get a little bit more out of here. It feels like I'm not quite close enough to the surface. So I'm going to extend that upper control arm to see if I can put a better pitch on this or a more aggressive dig, and see if that gets me up a little more than I got already. We'll give that a try. If it doesn't work, I'll extend it a little more. Let's see if we can get a little more up for them. Angle that blade too sharply, it'll start to carve sideways and pull the tractor in. There you go. I still do it after 4 years. I think that'll do it. Yeah, got lots of room here for them to get in and to get up the ramp, so I think we're in good shape. Scraped it down pretty good. Hopefully you folks noticed what I talked about, changing the pitch of the blade. And after you saw me scrape out the pile of snow I did, once I lengthened that upper control arm, you could see how much more snow, or icy snow, I was able to scrape up afterwards. It's not a heavy blade, mind you, it's only about 285 pounds. But although a lot of folks have suggested I put blocks on top to make it heavier, I think also if you try to change how aggressive that dig is, it kind of works. Folks know me. I'm kind of curious now. I want to make it even more aggressive, so I'm going to extend this a little bit more. I'm going to stick around, do one more pass, especially right around the wheelchair ramp. Thanks for sticking around today. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a beautiful sunny day. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful and safe week with your families. Please be kind to one another. I'll see you again on the next one. Cheers. All right, let's start the journey. And we're off. We're just exiting my parking area now. We're heading up and we're going to be heading north to the concession road. The reason I put this second gate in here is that we're about to reach one side or one boundary of my property. As I mentioned to you folks before, I have to traverse through a right-of-way on somebody else's property, and it comes down on an angle. So although my land goes much further north of us to the right, the right-of-way enters in on an angle on the one side or the one boundary of the property, and I wanted a gate kind of in and around the area where that property line existed. Kind of more or less like my own monument, so I'd always know roughly or within feet of where it was. The spot we're about to hit right here, this is kind of a landmark for me. It is, if you look on the right, you'll see a big hump which looks like a log underneath the snow. Well, that's because it is a log. Shortly after I built the cabin, probably the third or fourth time I came down into this property, I'd never owned property before, and I came up this little incline and I was faced with about a 16 or 18 inch maple tree right down across the driveway. Had to park the truck, carried all my stuff in, eventually left and realized I needed what was called a chainsaw. Never in my life had I owned property before, and I certainly had never swung a chainsaw in my life, or started one for that matter. And I made that fatal mistake that I look back on now and laugh about. I didn't know much about chainsaws, so I did what I did with anything else. I went online, I checked out the big box stores, and I got myself what I thought was a deal on a chainsaw. By the way, we just passed a marshy area here on the right. In this part of the driveway is basically where I virtually always in the summertime see moose tracks, and quite often in the winter. We're about to approach the steep hill now, so I'm going to drop this down into low gear. I've got it in four-wheel drive because I need it, and I've got my tire chainsaw. Let's finish that chainsaw story. Bottom line was, I didn't realize there were different categories of chainsaws, and I ended up spending $250 on what was a home and garden chainsaw. And I can assure you, within a couple of months of that purchase, I ended up finding myself in a chainsaw shop buying a proper steel chainsaw. That's where I learned that there were different types and categories of chainsaws. Anyways, wasted $250. I still have that chainsaw today. It sits at my house in the city. This is the steep hill that I talk about a lot. There are a number of different hills and undulations in the driveway, but there are two hills. This one I refer to as the steep hill. The next big one is what I call the big hill. This is the hill I've mentioned to you that I cannot make it up with a tractor, even in the summer, unless I'm in four-wheel drive and I have weight on the back, because about 3/4 of the way up, which we just passed, the tires start spinning and it's just too steep for the tractor to make it up. But as you can see, with the advent of tire chains, a good set of tire chains that is, and four-wheel drive, I no longer have a problem with it. collar, I refer to as the big hill. There's a creek through the forest from the left that runs right through underneath the driveway and eventually exits out in the marsh we just passed. Currently in high range, so we might get a little more wine here for a minute. Here is one of the parking areas that I try to blow out because, as I mentioned to you, it's a right-of-way, so it just helps being that it's such a thin driveway. I think I've got 4 for sure, maybe 5 spots that I often clear out just in case 2 cars are coming from opposite directions and we need to pass each other. Here to the right, this is a trail that takes me out to Chuck's place and Bobby's place if I want to take it through. It goes into the back of another neighbor's, a couple hundred acres. And it also has some really nice ATV trails all the way down through and into that marsh that we passed a little further back. We're going to get a little more hydraulic wine here as we go up this incline. Trying to get you through the driveway quickly. And we're fast approaching the concession road now. Got a lot of memories on this driveway over the years, especially in the early years before I had the tractor, because I can't even remember now how many times we ended up with tow trucks down this road trying to haul people out of the side of the forest on that steep hill, including myself. Well, there you have it, my friends. That's a quick tour of the driveway in high range. Made it through. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching the channel and thanks for all your support. Have a wonderful week. Cheers.